Welcome back to the Kumpler podcast. Today I have a name I'm going to try and pronounce now and be corrected by the man himself. Max Malchiner.
Yeah, Malchiner. But I take it as it is. Beautiful.
As you can see, my pronunciation of a German name isn't very strong. But I tell you what is very strong is the man himself on this podcast today. We met, when was it? The biohacking event we both spoke at?
The Biohack Summit. Last year, October.
About 6 months ago. And
6 months ago,
Yeah, we instantly hit it off, didn't we? I think just with our enthusiasm for high performance, mindset, which we're going to talk heavily about today.
Yeah.
Simply put, how can we spoke to at length about what are the things that we can do to help people perform better, feel better, not just in business, but in life, right? So, I mean, I don't really know where to start with this man because he's got a very impressive CV. I mean, I've had some very impressive people on this podcast, Max, but your credentials are absolutely incredible. He's the CEO of Inametrics DACH region.
DACH,
right?
DACH for English-speaking listener. So DACH is basically the German word for Deutschland, Austria, Switzerland. Okay. So this is a German-speaking region. So DACH region. Germany, Austria, Switzerland.
Awesome. And he's also the founder of You Are More, which is obviously one of your books, which we can speak about today. Yeah. International personality, sport mental psychologist, and trainer for top executives, athletes, best-selling author and speaker. Simply put, the man is an absolute operator. And one of the reasons I wanted to get you on today, Max, was I'm absolutely fascinated by exploring every single avenue of what can help people perform better in business, live a healthier life. Simply put, close the gap on where they are versus where they actually want to be, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, because I think if you can do that, and I'm sure we'll unpack this today, all the professional outcomes that we're working towards in business, all the sports performance goals, or health and fitness goals that people are working towards are far more likely to happen if we can understand ourselves and how we think and what we, and obviously that influences what we do. So firstly, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on the podcast, my friend.
Thank you for having me.
It is. Now, just to kick off, Max, as I've just shared there, you've got such a unique background. And we might go, for the listeners, we're probably going to go in about 55 different directions today, right? Okay, because me and Max, even when we speak privately, we catch up for coffees and things like that. We don't struggle to talk just because we're so passionate about adding value and genuinely making a difference to anyone who we coach, anyone we care about, and anyone who listens to podcasts like this and listens to us and our big mouth on stage. But you've done what I didn't mention there, of course. You've gone from acting to leadership coaching to psychology. What's the story behind it all? Like, how did you get into this? You're 60 now, and a very impressive 60-looking 60-year-old, right? But where did the journey start?
The journey started 1964, and I'm coming from a German-Hungarian family, so from the Austrian, that's the German-Austrian Hungarian monarchy. So it's a very historical place and also historical family. So that was my background, or that is my background. And I'm coming from a family of medical doctors, 3 generations of medical doctors. It will have a significance later in my story. And so I started my career as an actor. And studied at the Film Academy. So this is basically the University of Film and Theater Sciences in Budapest, in the class of István Szabó, who is Oscar-winning film director, and many Klaus Maria Brandauer, the Austrian, also Oscar-winning actor. And it was an amazing time, and very rapidly I got very high in this business. So got leading parts in international movies, played more than 40 basically leading parts, or mostly leading parts in television series, but also cinema, so big movies. It's been awarded one time in Belgrade as the best male actor for the leading part in the movie Sentenced to Death.
Nice.
And it sounds everything really unbelievable, because it was unbelievable even to me. So it was really very fast happening. And it was an honor. It was a real honor. And certainly when you are 22, 23, you don't know what is gratitude. You don't know about these things. So later you recognize and realize what it was. And then so I started to live a fantastic life, basically earning lots of money and having lots of free time. And that was the initial point where I've decided to do something else, to study. And because combined to the acting studies, we studied also psychology. So then I've chosen this direction. Said, okay, then I want to be.
Just sorry to interrupt there. It's like they're such polar opposites, right?
Yeah.
Acting, performing, very much.
Yeah.
Extrovert type career. Why psychology as well? Like, why psychology? And was there a specific moment that inspired you to do that?
Yeah, this is, as an actor, basically also, you're not working as a psychologist, but everything what you do is based on psychology, because you play people, so you have to understand their feelings, their emotions, you have to understand their behavior. And you do it maybe intuitively because you are talented and you have a certain feeling for that. But I was really interested in, let's say, going a little bit more behind. So behind of the scenes. So what is happening in people? What is happening in persons?
Why?
Because in our family, I saw many different stories, certainly, as in, I think, all families in the world, and very talented, really beautiful, very highly qualified people. Some of them lost everything due to personal, let's say, committed errors, basically personal errors. Or I saw people became very sick. My mother, for example, and she was struggling with a very serious sickness, more than 25 years, and long. And so all the people told me that she will die, maybe next week, maybe next month. So that was all the time just with me, this feeling, this uncertainty about her future. Yeah. But then she lived quite long, and it was okay. But she was a vital, absolutely strong person. So you can imagine how positive you were talking about being extroverted. So she was a person. She was from Bavaria, and Oktoberfest. Oktoberfest is well known. Yes. So she was the person who was dancing on the table, It was like, and then I saw her like bomb, just falling down, and then being sick for so many years. And so I saw many different stories, personal stories, and also stories around me. And I said, there must be a reason for that, why people are getting into this specific situation. I'm not talking about sicknesses, but her sickness or illness was basically based on autoimmune something. But it's certainly it makes a lot with you. So this is something that affected a lot also me. And during my career, I had the opportunity and the amazing chance to meet really number one, so very high positioned, amazing people. Anthony Perkins. I did a movie with him. I saw Richard Burton, like you now. Many big people. And when you see behind, when you have a look behind the scenes, and you see how they live, and how many bottles of whiskey, they drank a day, or
really,
really. Yeah, okay. Really. So, and this is, I don't want to name anybody, but specifically, but many big problems. And then I was just, okay, so how can it be these people are so important, so great? And for people from the, let's say, normal world, they are idols, they're saying that, oh my God, so this and this type of real famous and highly valuable people. And they had, in their private lives, so many issues, so many things to deal with.
So behind the mask,
there
was a lot going on that people watching them in movies wouldn't know. I mean, because I think back to when I watched movies as a kid, or even in recent years, you sometimes look at these movie stars or footballers, which will impact today, of course, or elite level businessmen that are public figures, and you think, God, these guys have got it all, and there's no cracks. And but you noticed firsthand there was a lot going on, right?
Firsthand. So the interest was there, and then I started to study psychology and economics, because that was the time when internet came, so 1995, 96, and it was for me. I met a guy, you might know his name, Roland Emmerich. He's the director of Godzilla, very famous movie.
Godzilla, yes.
And he was basically a guy from Stuttgart, very close. I was in Munich and he was in Stuttgart. And one time I visited him and told me that, Max, your future as an actor is done, finished, you can give up. I said, why? I said, because in the future, all the movies, they will be done based on animations, and then computer technology.
Okay.
And I was just like, what?
What age were you at that point?
I was 30. So that was
so you're thinking, 95. I'm 30, what am I going to do?
It was like that. I said, so, okay. But I didn't take him so serious. But he gave me a hint. So he gave me some, and said, okay, what are you talking about? I said, computer technology and also internet. I said, what is internet? But really, that was the time for you. Maybe you're 20 years younger, so it might be funny, but that was the truth. And I was sitting and said, okay, what's internet? So I went to the next internet cafe. that time, the only places where you could have internet. And then started to search, and then they said, this is something, this is interesting. So one time it will be replaceable, and then. So I started economics and then started an enterprise immediately. In 1998, really very much, I'm not saying the top of my career because it's two big words and I don't know where's the top and when you achieve this. So it's very difficult to say, but I was good in business. And then I called my agent in Munich and said, Marlies, I know I'm finishing. So I will be finishing with acting. And so, are you crazy, Max? You cannot do that, And then we have for next year, I don't know how many. They are just, castings and many things. You have to go and speak. And then.
But at that time, you were still getting good roles, and you were
absolutely.
And then just decided to.
My wife, she's a medical doctor still. So I've been married for 35 years now, and she's a medical doctor, and. You have to imagine, so I'm just talking about this because it's so important for many people who maybe just sitting around and just thinking, oh my God, if I would make more and more money, it would be better. No. So I earn really a day. So my fee as an actor was her monthly salary. One day what I did. And she worked 12, 13 hours in a hospital. So I did lots of money, but I said, this is not enough. So that's not me, or maybe I'm more. So that was the first time I was thinking about I am more. So I have something within me, could be shown.
What did you feel was missing at that point? What did you feel was missing? Because you got the status, you got the money, right? And you got that life that many people would love to have. So what was missing?
It's so funny, Kirk. I'm telling you now, very, very. This is something I think. Really, that was the biggest insight of my life, because 12 years later, the first time I did my first personality assessment. And you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
And in this personality assessment, you can you gain lots of knowledge about yourself and also so insights and whatever, but you can understand even your past, so your decisions in the past. And I have a very strong motivation I'm political, also very individualistic, and very highly economical, we call it. So it means very result oriented.
Yes.
I love freedom, life independence. And this is as an actor, I didn't have it. Because as an actor, you are absolutely in the hands of unknown, abstract
so
constructions.
Much uncertainty. Yes.
This is. Do they like you or not? Will they take you or not?
I get it.
So now I can explain it. That time I didn't know about it. I just had the feeling. Maybe I would tell you also, would name it as purpose. Because after a while, and again, I started very young. So with 18 years, I got per accident, but I got the first leading part in the big movie, and it was very fast, very quick. You know, I basically I wasn't prepared for that. You know? And then you have to learn that, okay, I'm getting this and this and this, and life is good to me, but what can I do with that? You know? So that was the process, and then just making short, I established a company immediately, a multimedia company, and then it has been bought by another big television network in Germany, because it was interesting for them to have more, let's say, more business in this interactive part of the new world that was absolutely new economy, the .com, you know, and it boomed like hell. And then I became the CEO of this new company, and then this company been bought by German Telecom, and I became the CEO of this daughter company at German Telecom. And that was the point. It was 2005. I will never forget it, because 2005 we got our twins, and then the first son was born in 2000, and then so we had 3 kids at home. My wife, and I was responsible for everything for the family. And I lived a life really very maybe viable for people from the external world, you know. Had a driver waiting for me every morning in front of the door, you know, and then you know, business lunches and dinners and money and certainly the flights. But I didn't enjoy it at all.
Why?
Because it became too much for me. I had the feeling that it is absolutely not according to my. Maybe it was not reflecting my values. So it was.
Did you know your values at that point? Because I think there's a lot of people listening to this.
Yeah.
This is going to resonate, especially with where you're at and sharing your story, which I think is so important. I really believe there's so many people who don't actually know their values.
No, I didn't know.
Let alone their personality test, which I know you can talk about too.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, okay, I didn't know anything. And this is what happens, and this is what we both know now, after having birthed, I don't know, 10,000s of people, that they don't know, and we cannot know, because at the moment of getting this very strange feeling, you feel something, but you cannot explain. We cannot explain it to you. It's just saying, what the hell is happening within me?
Was there a pivotal moment, Max, where, again, because I've had clients in these situations, obviously even with my own story, you know, where I was in the plumbing job. I certainly wasn't successful as you, but I was in a job that I hated, and there was just signs showing up all the time, you know, where I'm getting warnings at work. I'm doing stupid stuff. I'm feeling run down, and there's just this tap. If you keep doing the same, then things are going to start showing up. But what was that pivotal moment where you just like, was there anything in particular that happened with family or business or a situation you helped that was just that slap in the ass? You've got to do something different.
The pivotal moment was, as I had to come back from Prague to Budapest. That time we lived in Budapest. And then I got a panic attack, but it was not the first time.
What age were you at this point?
I was 41.
So you're 41, okay. 41. You've got the money, you've got the status, you've got the family.
And
then you have a panic attack.
Panic attack. And I was standing there, you know, everything around you, typical, you know, it's Friday afternoon, airport is packed, you know, it's full of people. And then everybody's just running and looking for the terminal and whatever. I was with a colleague. And he was just looking at me and said, Max, come on, we have to go. And then I couldn't move, you know, I was just like, stuck, you know. Okay, and then we got it. So we went to the plane, and then I was sitting in the window seat, which is not very common because I'm always sitting in Iceland.
I'm the same.
Yeah.
It drives me crazy.
Yeah. What is the window seat? It was a quite, let's say, bumpy flight, and I was sitting there just totally empty, and I can remember I was just looking out of the window, and that was the first time in my life I asked myself, why? Why are you doing that? So why is it important?
You'd never in your life up to that point asked yourself, why am I doing this?
No, because it was like an autopilot or more also. I think there were really so many very lucky moments in my life. And I can be only grateful for them. But I'd never thought about it. I was never thinking of consequences. How can it be? In this moment, I really got to the point, I think, when I understood that this is about my life. Now you have to take a decision. And I went home to my wife. I mean, I don't know, it was a heart attack or something. And she said, no, you don't have anything. It was a panic attack. And then it took months, to understand what's happening and what's going on. And then I made the decision, I will be leaving the job. And then I had to stay 2 years longer in the organization. And then 2008, I quit with the family, and then we moved to Mallorca immediately. And then, now 17 years. So we've been living there.
Yeah.
And also in Dubai.
During that period, that around that time, were you doing anything in particular to manage your mental health or your physical health, or to look after you?
This is a very important question, because I was always a very, let's say, practiced many sports, different sports, martial arts, many years. And this time, as I was in the top management, I abandoned sports. Okay. Absolutely, because no time.
Okay.
Oh, I have 3 kids. I have work. I have responsibility.
If you're listening to this and this resonates,
yeah,
please listen.
Please listen, because that was really the moment when I understood that I have to get back to my training. I have to get back from my head into my body, which was very important. And I was only in my body, only in my head, all the time, thinking and doing and solving problems and whatever as a manager. And so that was the moment I decided, okay, then go back to training, go back to a healthy lifestyle. And so very hard change, really challenging. And maybe the worst part of it was that I had to stay within the company for 2 years longer. So you do something, and that was for me the first time again, then I realized how it is to do something which you basically hate or don't like anymore. But I had to stay, I had to stay with it. And so 2008, life just changed, from 0 up to 100, the quality of life. And again, and this is also in my book, and this is one of my key messages. I'm working with top people, top executives, top athletes on purpose, because they lost their purpose. And but the most important thing, and this is where we should start, is, I think, to understand that high living standards have nothing to do with the high quality of life.
Can you tell me more about, explain that?
We are all for, let's say, high living standards. We live in Dubai, here, everything is about money, everything is about luxury, everything is about showing off, you know what I mean? And what I'm talking about is you can have all of this, but you be empty within yourself. So what I'm talking about is understand what is good for you. Don't ask yourself, what's the matter with me? Instead of asking you what's the matter with me, you should ask yourself, what matters most to me? This is a big challenge to ask you these questions, and you have to be very tough on this, to get the right answer for that. And then you understand that the quality means for you something else than for me, so it will be something very individual. But once you get to this awareness, once you understand, you get this insight, and this is experimental, so you have to try many different things, and you understand that maybe for me, for us, remember we sat here next door, it's a very nice, beautiful place.
Yeah.
And other people would see the luxury, because it is basically a luxury place.
Yes.
And we sat there, we had only 1 bottle of water, I think, and 5 hours we were just talking. This is for me high quality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Whereas other people, they might be in these places and trying to look good, or trying to buy the wine, the champagne, but without purpose or meaning behind that. That's just filling the void.
Yeah.
Filling the void of happiness.
So I've realized that maybe it is nothing good about it, or I don't know, maybe it's something what I got from my family. But I like deep conversations. I like quality. I love people, who are deep inside. I can talk also about emotions. They're not afraid of talking about themselves, whatever. And as I realized that management, if you think about it, and you people just listening, how many of you can tell me good stories from your working place or about your working environment? I mean, there are only bad stories what you can hear. This is stress, this is hustle, this is this is a toxic environment, this is toxic leadership, and we need more. I think this is about courage. Courage. Okay. So we need more courage to stand up for needs, stand up for values. And there was a very important question that you have asked me about, did you know about your values or not? I didn't know about them. But you can be sure that every single person has a very, very well manifested value system. And this value system must be satisfied. So if I'm living and working in a working environment or in an environment that doesn't appreciate my values and doesn't satisfy my values, I will be unhappy, endlessly unhappy. So this is the first thing, and maybe you don't know the root source for your unhappiness, but you have this feeling, and this feeling leads then to the pain. So this is a pain basically, and then this pain maybe changes. I heard something which is so nice. It's about change happens when the pain of staying in a situation is bigger than the pain of changing. So at that moment you understand that, okay, I need to move.
Yeah. No, I get it. So you moved to Mallorca. You were a qualified psychologist at that point. Did you instantly then get into executive coaching, or what was the bridge, and how did you start going heavier into that? How did that happen?
I think it was absolutely my way, because I was coming from this direction. So I was in this environment. I knew everything, how it is. First floor, second floor, up to the 50th floor. And I have to tell you here, and everybody, very important story, because we had a board meeting at this company. You have to imagine that the board room was, I don't know how long, but maybe 15, 20 meters long. And we had a table which was about 50 meters long. And it was so big that we had to talk to the microphone, because otherwise the colleague on the other side of the table would never understood what I'm saying. So, and then we had very tense meetings, and this board meeting was also very tense. And I had to go to the toilet, and one of my colleagues was
falling asleep.
Like this. No. He was very close to collapse, basically.
Really?
So it was basically absolutely at the end of his capacity, of his resources.
Okay.
And I just kept him up and said, hey, what's happening? And an ambulance and whatever. So I remember this story because I can we'll never forget this, because I knew him, and he was not this type of man. And again, this is something that you cannot see. My colleague at the airport could not see that within me. It was a storm.
You're broken. You're broken. Yeah.
Totally.
You're on the verge of collapse and exhaustion. Yeah, I get it.
That is. So, and then as I started, I said, I would like to help to support these people, because they have to understand that there is something that they need to change. There are many different tools, many different tricks, techniques that you can learn. But first of all, you have to learn about yourself. You have to understand yourself.
Okay.
And this is self-awareness. And this is what most of people are missing. So this is, they miss self-awareness, because this is what will not be taught in the schools. If you are in these positions, or having very unsatisfying life, for whatever reasons, then you are in distance to yourself. So there's basically a huge distance. So this is me, and then I'm living somehow here. And what I'm doing now is basically I'm introducing persons. I see the profiles, the personality assessment, and I see an absolutely valid person of high potential, lots of power. And then I meet them and they're just like this, And then I have to show them that, hey, that's you. So this is you. And then they can meet again. And this is a process, but it starts with self-awareness, with self-knowledge.
So you're saying basically, and this is whether you listen to this within a corporate environment, or you're listening to this and you run your own business and you're a small startup, whatever it is, if you're a founder, you're an entrepreneur, you're a high performer some way, and you are listening to this and you can't understand why you're doing certain things, why you react in a certain way, why you're exhausted, or maybe why you're doing the habits to create exhaustion, right? Or you're on this hamster wheel, you're saying the first step has to be evaluating yourself, your personality, your values, and going deep on that.
Absolutely. The first step is look for the best available personality assessment. It has to be objective, and you have to be open for that. You can find tools from A till Z, so it can be very good or very bad. The most important thing is that you get a good feedback to that. So the coach, your psychologist you work with, they should know what they're talking about for sure. But then this objectivity will help you to understand yourself. And then this is the basic. But I'm telling you something which is very important, because personality is one thing. Personality will be formed by environment and also by your own experiences.
And your upbringing, maybe?
Pardon me?
Your upbringing, your parents, and things like that.
Absolutely. Genes, genetically also. So genes. Science cannot tell you right now what are the percentages, exact percentage, but maybe 50, 60% genes and then environment, or 40% genes and then environment. So this is the average. But then we are talking also about identity, and this is something totally different. And first of all, I'm clarifying with my clients the personality. We have to know everything about it.
Yep.
And then based on this information, we start working, and then we have to identify their own identity. We have to understand it, because identity will be formed by emotions, by emotional events. So we have to go back. It is not about, I would like to emphasize, it's not about, I don't believe in this psychological working in the past belief, and the methodology always, because sometimes it's needed, but you have to understand the storyline of a person. You have to understand where were the peaks, where were the real important moments, more emotional events, because this will be crucial for the later value system, for the identity. A child, in 3 years, you will know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I've got one on the way.
Yeah, which is so great. I'm so happy for you.
Thank
you. A child, 3 years, it's the first time they get their individuality.
They get their what, sorry?
So first time
at the age of 3.
They recognize individuality. This is 3 years old.
Okay.
What does it mean? I'm seeing myself in the mirror and saying, oh, I'm looking different. My dad is looking different, and my mother is looking different. I'm different, so this is my individuality. And this is at the very, very first, let's say, primitive stage. And then later, 6, 7 years, 8 years, then you start to form your identity, because you get the value system from your family you have experienced. And then this is what we're doing always, continuously in our lives. And then when you achieve the age of 22, then it will be established. Your neurological cosmos in your brain will be established, basically. It is not fixed. Certainly you can move and you can change things, but mostly it will be very, very manifested.
Yeah, so by 22, you're saying a lot of our beliefs about who we are and the perception of how other people perceive us.
Yeah.
There's a large part of that is set in stone without realizing it at that point.
Exactly. And that's why we need to understand, so how this person became to this value system. What happened before? So what were these emotional events, big events in their lives? And what I see is that, people, and I'm so happy when I have the possibility to talk to people like you, because I know you also privately, and I know that you walk the talk. And this is so important because there's so many people out there, you know, in the social media, and they're talking about things, and you know what I mean. So maybe it's not authentic.
Yes.
What I think one of the most important thing is that you can hear a lot about and listen to podcasts telling you how to live and then giving you advices, whatever. I don't say forget about them. You can always pick out 1 or 2 sentences. They are important. But one thing is clear. People believe very much in their inherited fate.
What do you mean?
Inherited fate means that they believe really that they have no power to change their parents, you know, that everything what came along, you know, everything what I got from my parents, from my home. But there's no evidence. If you're looking back at history, we're seeing biographies, so many famous people or whatever, millions of people, we can tell you there's no evidence that a bad home, bad school, bad education, not even a big personal tragedy would significantly affect your future. Only you can do that. So this is what people have to recognize, and also, taking, let's say, taking over this responsibility, saying that I'm responsible for my life.
So for people listening to this, and they might be like, they've got these patterns, these beliefs, this identity that's been hardwired. Maybe they've had some shit that's happened in the past, which we all have, some more severe, some not so severe. And there's people listening to this and they're like, I'm maybe aware of these things in the past, and I'm aware of who I am, and there's a part of my identity which I'm not truly content with. What can they do first? What is the question they need to ask themselves, or the action step they need to explore if they are stuck in this rut, like you said, which is bullshit, really, because we've got so much evidence that you can change. What would be your advice to someone?
Self-awareness based on this, because these reports can show you your amazing power. So you would understand that I have the power. And this is the first thing you have to recognize, realize. Kirk, I'm talking to people, really, I'm telling you a story now. It's a recent story. Last week, manager, 45 years old, be talking via Zoom. And he's really so looking good, everything good. Yep. And in the report, you see only really high scores, high values, very, very powerful. But the inner world, the internal world is totally broken. So no self-awareness, role awareness is very down, no self-direction, no purpose. And we are talking, and then I'm seeing also that in his report, the behavior, the difference between natural and adaptive behavior is very big. Very, very big. And not only one, we have 4 dimensions. And in 3 dimensions, so I'm saying, so you live basically an inauthentic life. And for how long? For how long? What do you think? And he was sitting there, and then silence, silence, silence. He said, 20 years long, you know. Can you imagine? So you are 45 and realize at this moment that in the last 20 years, you live basically an inauthentic life, controlled by others maybe, and you don't have your own purpose. You don't have your own life. You don't own your own life. Is that
why so many people bury themselves in work? Because I've seen it in clients. Again, there's no judgment. I've done some. I've certainly had periods in life where I wasn't authentic, and you've tried to portray this invincibility on the front end, and you get all of your certainty, significance, and you meet your needs through work, for example. But if people aren't being authentic and exploring that, doing the inner work or exploring who they really are, is that one of the common things you see? Because I know you speak to large organizations, many top execs, that they just bury themselves into work, but at what cost?
At what cost? Yeah. At what cost? So this is the question. They do it because, look, again, as a child, we are looking for love. So this is how we raised you. This is what we inherited. This is millions of years. So we're looking for love, we're looking for appraisal, and would like to avoid punishment. So this is what we do always between of the two. So what happens is that at work, when my boss loves me, then it's nice, Otherwise, I will be refused. Handling rejection is one of the biggest problems of people, which is very, very difficult, to handle.
Well, that was going to be one of my questions, actually, because I know you've worked with, Max, you've worked with top execs, you've worked with elite level athletes, world leading. I remember you saying to me, you couldn't tell me the players, but you said you worked with some Bayern Munich footballers and people like that. Like you're saying there about rejection. And the reason I jumped on that word is I know what it was like to be rejected for the first time when I got released by Coventry City, and I didn't know how to handle it. Tell me more about rejection, whether it's a top exec, footballer, athlete.
Yeah. Rejection means that you will not be recognized, you will not be appreciated by your colleagues, by your boss. Boss more important than colleagues because the boss is basically the symbol for power, and then people who and this is what last time as we met we were talking about this issue. The role awareness means that if you have very low self-esteem but high role awareness, it means that your roles are more important to you as your own personality or your own person, which means that it cannot work. There is no hierarchy. It is this should be the same.
So if you've got a really high self-awareness, but your self-esteem is rock bottom, and you're ignoring that surely that has to be unsustainable.
Yeah. And these people are buying the biggest cars and then the most expensive watches and whatever, because this is what matters, and then the business card. If I'm taking then this business card away, then they are naked. They feel naked.
So if you take their job title and their professional status, they don't know who they are.
And this is the main issue when you ask people, so why don't you sell your company? Or why don't you quit this job? And they're saying, and this is correct, it really happened. This is all, you have so many stories in your life, you will never forget about it. And that was a lady totally at the end of her capacity and resources and whatever, exhausted like hell. And then we had a conversation and I said to her, okay, now you have to listen to me very, very carefully what I'm saying. You have to quit. And do you know what the answer was?
Go on.
Yeah, but Max, and the company car? And I was like I didn't want to believe it. She says, yeah, but the company car. Max, I was thinking about it, but the company car.
Wow.
And I went, okay, then I made this game. Okay, now here in my hand is a company car, and that's your health, this is your life. And this also death. So
how do you unpack a situation like that?
You have to, these people are basically in, how should I call it? It's like, this is not real, but they experience. They live in a world which is basically their own. This is a world that they have created for themselves, and they want to be appreciated in this world. They adapt themselves to the rules of this world, and then they lose themselves. But so far away as the gentleman before, as I told you, so 20 years, 25 years long, and so we have to bring them back, just think, hey, man, wake up. This is not last moment. So last exit. And I think now we are getting to the point where more and more people understand what's about awakening. So where many people look for your help, your support, my support. They're looking for tools and looking for solutions for themselves. But we can only guide them, we can give them the support and then show them that it's possible. My story makes it possible for them. Because
you've been in their world, right? You've been in their world.
Yeah.
So for anyone listening, like, there's no judgment from you or me when we say this. And
No.
You've been in that world of got the money, got the car, got the status, got the life that other people maybe perceive as perfection, but you've also experienced the drawback of that when you're not being authentic to who you actually are, and you're doing things based on other people's values potentially rather than your own, and other people's personality rather than your own. So your system, You Are More, how do you want to share a little bit more about that?
So we start with self-awareness, self-knowledge.
So step one is self-awareness.
Assessment, very important.
Okay.
Then identity. We have to understand your identity, and then building up your consciousness. So you have to be conscious in every aspect of your life. So you have to be conscious about your relationships, your health, your work, your career, your love, your sports, everything. So, and this being conscious is one of the things, Kirk, I think this is what we are doing. So basically, when you think about it, if you would ask me, so what are you doing? I'm saying, I'm making people conscious.
Because people are so unconscious of what they're doing, why they're doing, and maybe their values.
And then we are teaching them certain techniques like breathing, one of the key elements of having a healthy life, a good life, and being conscious is to be able to breathe.
Can you give listeners an example? Because I know, say for someone who's never done breath work before, and it's because I know that can be so hard, or people put such a barrier in because it means they have to stop and not work, right?
Look, it sounds simple, but breathing is everything. When you can breathe correctly and you understand the power of breathing, then you can change your life. And breathing leads you to consciousness. And why? Because breathing is the only body, let's say, physiological mechanism in our body that we can voluntary and involuntary under control. We have it under control. Understand? So you know, I can decide to breathe normal. I can decide to breathe fast. And look, I'm talking now to men who maybe, because ladies, you know, they're practicing more yoga and they're getting more familiar with this stuff. But men, many times, breathing, what a stupid thing. I'm breathing all the time. Yeah, but unconsciously. What we would like to learn is conscious breathing. And why? Because, and I'm telling them always, look, just think about it. Navy SEALs. You know Navy SEALs?
Yes, of course.
So, I mean, amazing guys. And in the training of Navy SEALs, 40% of the time they spend on breathing.
To control their state.
They control the state, because this is the state of your mind. This is the state of your body. So if I'm losing myself because I'm living in this very fast-paced world, and I'm losing momentum, I'm losing a connection to people, I'm losing connection to myself.
Just something as simple as that.
Just experiencing this moment, very simple. You can do it in your car, you know, waiting red light. You can do it in the supermarket. I'm doing it. I'm standing there. Conscious breathing. And this is the beginning of everything. So I'm starting to teach them these techniques. Man, you know, this bell breathing, so that we have to breathe basically very, very deep inside. And we tend to breathe here. So this
in our chest, absolutely.
The chest, which is not in sport. If you're making sport, if a football player cannot, you know, it's bell breathing could not work for them. But here,
but it's not sustainable to do that all the
time.
Right?
No. But then you have 4 or 5 different techniques, breathing techniques that you should be aware of, and you can choose then the right technique for the right moment. So this is what they have to be aware of. And so I really experienced many dozens of times, you know, that people change only based on this one very, very simple element. They could change many things in their lives. And so this is the second thing. And then certainly what you're talking about also, this alimentation, so food, sport is so important. I'm bringing them to boxing. I'm showing them the many different ways how what power do they have basically. So, and this power, the giant within you, as Tony Robbins said. So this giant, this power within you. So how can
why is
break
that so
it out?
important?
Because most of the people forgot about it or never ever experienced power. Because they've been always told, hey, be quiet, be silent, be nice, be nice. An Austrian, he's an anthropologist, and he did a study in Austrian society, which is a very advanced society and rich society. And he made there was a parental test with I don't know how many thousands of families he interviewed, and the question was, what do you love most, your child? And then most of the people answered, you would not think, oh, there's Hansi, is a beautiful guy, very, very nice. And in the school, all the teachers says he's so nice and always adaptable. So he's just like. And parents were really proud of that, you know, that the kids that just like conform,
nice. Okay.
Conform.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
And so this is something you don't know what power you have. So this is something that you have to show them. And I'm making events, firewalking.
Yeah, because I know Tony Robbins. I first came across it with Tony. Why is that? What does that do, and why is that important?
Fireworking, I mean, you can do it. We do it very, very consciously and very, very carefully because it is quite dangerous. So you have to be very careful. I did it last year. More than 700 people took over, and never injuries or burning effects. Why? Because you have to be, and this is what you learn, to visualize before you do it. What is my relationship to fire? How dangerous it can be? What I want to achieve, and then we're making with them a mental work, which is a part of my sport mental psychological work, and also with leadership. That I'm showing them how visualization can work for them really well, or how using breathing techniques, for example, how can I be prepared for very difficult situations, extreme difficult situations like walking on fire.
Yeah.
And so this is what we do. So the preparation takes about 2.5 hours, very important. And then when we did it, so you ask why? Because this is the liberation itself. This is the liberation when they say, oh my God, I couldn't even believe it that I was there. 800 degrees cold, you know, and I was walking over. And one thing I would like to tell you at this point, because if I'm talking about this, people after this experience, specific experience, telling me that now, looking backward, I understood what we were talking about, consciousness. Do you know the story about the canary in the coal mine?
No, I don't, but why not share
It's a historical evidence. It's historical evidence that coal mine workers took a canary, so a bird, down to the mine, and then the canary was just singing there all the time. But once they stopped, it was the first sign to them that they have to go up because the air became bad.
Okay.
So that was the canary bird. You, me, and everybody has its own canary bird in the body.
What do you mean?
They are the first signs of being stressed.
Okay.
So the first signs of being exhausted, the first signs of being disconnected.
And what are the signs
but
of that?
we don't care.
Yeah, what are those signs that you've come across specifically? You know that you know you just know something isn't quite right. Because I think stress, overwhelm, that feeling you've said is so common. It's so common in the people we coach. It's so common in the people that want to work with us, and that generally in business or the way the modern society is. But like, what are the most common patterns and signs that we have this canary bird feeling? Yeah,
canary bird is, for example, sleeping disorder. I think it's number one.
Okay.
Because this is what we hear everywhere. All the people that struggle of sleep or bad sleeping. So sleeping disorder, then addiction to different things, alcohol. We have to talk about it. Look, we have been living in Dubai for years, and one thing is very strange here, because people don't drink. I mean, much less than in the UK or in Germany or in Europe. And then certainly there are groups of people, they drink always, but basically alcohol is not that common. Yeah. And I went to a party last year, and they were Emirati people only. That was iftar, after Ramadan, the evening. And they invited me for this dinner. It was amazing, 50 men, and we spent hours there. And then after 4 or 5 hours, it became something very strange, and I just was thinking about it. What is so strange to me? And that was the fact that after 4 and 5 hours, all the men, they were totally conscious, sitting there, talking nicely to each other, drank tea or coffee or whatever, water, and no one was drunk.
Okay.
In Europe, would be unimaginable. No? I mean, I said, this is people, what they do is, so this is addiction. And this is what people have to face, really. You have to tell you, if you drink 4-5 times a week and you need it, so because you have fears and this is against of anxiety, or because you think that you will get a better sleep of that, which is totally wrong because you won't, then you are addicted to alcohol. And this will kill you. This will kill you. So addiction, sleeping disorder, maybe also overweight, general nervosity, always, being stressed, having the feeling that I don't find my patience, I'm just always driven. I cannot sit down and just enjoying, listening to birds.
So maybe like just simply not being present. Not being able to stop.
Not being in the present.
Okay.
That's it. This is what we can learn from Buddhism. So being in the present is one of the key elements. And what we see in the reports is also, Kirk, that over 90% of executive working force is not satisfied with their own results. It means that they achieve something, and at this specific moment, immediately they think about the next project. They think about the next goal, the next success.
Is that common as well in the elite athletes that you work with as well?
Yeah, absolutely. It can be also a good driver.
Yes.
Because you're never satisfied, certainly. Yeah. But for you, I mean, I'm always telling them, I said, look, it's very, very simple. The organizations worldwide are taking this type of people because you will be working, you will be hard working for them, for them. But for you as a person, because of your happiness, your personal own satisfaction, it's not good. So you have to live in the now and just appreciate your own results. Love yourself. And self-love is, for example, something which will be misused now so many times and just became a buzzword,
Why?
Love. Because people don't understand really what it is. They think that if you're intending to manage your self-love, then, self-love? I mean, I don't have time for that. What do you mean? Are you crazy?
In a company, if you say...
Is it something esoteric? No, self-love means that I know my values and I'm standing for my values. So I can just celebrate myself for successes, because it was very hard to get to this point.
So doesn't that bring us on to the subject? Because I'm fascinated by whether it's in sport or business, what makes a great leader? So you've just said there about the importance of self-love and being able to be authentic and communicate your feelings and values to other people, certainly within a company. How much of that would you say for people working within an organization? And I think this is going to resonate with people who work for an organization or within a company, and is also going to resonate with founders and leaders, right, who consider themselves good leaders. How important is the role of the leader, the founder, the CEO then, if we're trying to encourage people to express their feelings and live authentic and not be scared to speak up? Surely that's a harder task if the leader is non-receptive to that. From your experience, you work with so many different companies and leaders and the top dogs in the company. How many of them actually are open to this or open to people speaking to them about this?
As I started working in this field 17 years ago, it was very difficult to get CEOs or, let's say, C-level type guys, to the table and saying them that saying to them that, look, we will be sitting together in a conference room, there's a meeting, and then everybody will have his own personality assessment, and we'll be talking about the values, and we will be really discussing how we could be better based on this information, the team dynamics. We will understand not only your dynamic, but also the team dynamics. And they go, oh, no, and the people now, make it with them. It's very interesting. I would like to get this information about them. And I said, no, you should be a very important part of this process because you are the role model. So a good leader will understand that being a role model, being that guy or the lady who is really, because according to my experience, female leaders have a huge advantage.
Why?
Because they are more sensible, maybe more, I'm not saying empathetic, because we made studies with 3,000 leaders worldwide. 3,000 last year came out with that. And the results were shocking. Shocking because all the leaders, and there are 5 countries, 2 continents, Germany, Switzerland, Austria, Hungary, United States. And can you imagine that the leaders show very, very similar, very, very almost the same characteristics everywhere. Why? Because HR takes this type of people. They have this hiring process, and we're getting this type of people everywhere in the world into these positions, into these high positions. So they were adapted, they were not really economically driven, they were not really political. Political means that I love being in charge. I love taking over responsibility. They were not. So they were maybe very decisive, very fast-paced and everything, but they were not really liking to be in this position. So this is very, very crucial. And then the saddest part was basically the internals, when you see, because they were all talented, highly talented people, in all categories. It's no problem. But the internals, so the inner world, showed us that they're absolutely not self-aware enough. So all the scores, it's very, very interesting when you look at the scores on the edge. And where we have scored this is 0.6, this is the edge. And then they were all at this border. Below, it would be very, very bad. 6 is okay, but they should have much more. Why? Because if I'm self-aware, if I'm believing in my roles, if I have my own self-direction, I have a plan for my life, then I can give from this energy, from this high energy that I'm having to my colleagues. So I can lead them. People, they don't have energy for themselves, they're not able to lead others. So, and this is what happens, that we are basically surrounded by leaders. They don't have the energy, not even for themselves, because they're exhausted. They don't have a real clear vision for their life. They don't have a clear vision for the future. Maybe having broken private situations, living in bad private conditions, whatever, and addiction, whatever, and they would like to lead us, and this is not good. And people are watching always, and they observe, and when they don't observe, they just realize, because there's a sensation, and they know exactly. So what should leaders do for it? So this is again self-awareness, and this is, I think, also in your case, but this is 90% of my work, getting them into the right energy.
Okay.
Getting them to the point of being real energized. And then living this energy and being able to give from this energy further toward the people. Yeah.
Which, as you've shared, there's so many parts of the puzzle that can help someone live with energy or not.
Yeah.
You've got the self-awareness, all the personality stuff you've just said, but equally as well, if people aren't looking after themselves on the physical front and the sleep and all the things that go into that, how can someone lead properly? And this is what I continually preach. It's probably what we talked at length, for hours the other day. You cannot influence to the best of your capabilities and get the best out of people if your energy is rock bottom, if you're not just your physical energy, but your emotional energy is exhausting. Then if you layer on top of that, you're being inauthentic, you're not living in accordance to your values, and you have no energy, there's no way you can lead.
No.
And there's no way you can get the best out of the people, because you can't give what you don't have.
No.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
But I see this over and over again. It's over and over again. And it comes back to me, Max, and I love your opinion on this. People would run through fire for other people's agendas, for clients, for business meetings to close the deal. But so many people can't find the time to self-evaluate themselves and fill their own cup up.
Yeah.
It's unsustainable.
Unsustainable. This world that we're living in is unsustainable. This is what we have to deal with.
So where's the opportunity for like great leaders? Because I think we all agree, and I stand by this. There's a large proportion of leaders who aren't fit to lead, but there are a small minority, of course, who are doing the work. What do you think are essential traits or traits you've seen within the very best leaders? Like if I was to say to you, or ask you rather, what are the 5 most common traits of the best leaders that you've ever worked with? What would they be?
They should be decisive. They should be decisive enough. So not very highly, so not very much, too much, because that would be too demanding and also a little bit stressful for the team. But they should be able to meet decisions, and this very firm and quick, because this is what people are waiting for. If I'm decisive, I need certainly also being interactive. So
what does that mean?
Interactivity means being social, being open, being open for your opinion, being open to talk to my people, being able to listen to my people. So the listening skills, very important. So decision, listening. Then the ability to change, because this is what we see, that more than 50% of our population, world population, is not open for change. So they are basically they are change resistant, which is a big problem because we live in this agile world. So you need to change continuously, and this is something which is certainly a big problem. If the company is telling you we have to change, we're living, but the leader itself doesn't believe in it, that's a problem. So this should be agile some way, and cautiousness could be, but it's not so important. Then they should love what they do. It means that they should be result oriented and politically driven. They have to stand for power, impact, responsibility. And that should be one of the key motivations. We have 7 motivations, 7 motivators, key drivers. And one of them, this is political. One of them is economical. Economical is not only about money. This is much more about result-driven approach. This is about return. I'm doing only things that make real sense, and then I don't waste my time. So leader, very important too. And then empathy. Empathy, because nowadays we don't talk about command and control, but we are still in. We're always saying that, but we are still in. So we need people. They have an empathetic outlook for others. They can talk to people, listen to people, understand their needs, and this is one crucial word: interested in you. If I'm only interested in your performance, in your delivery, then I'm a wrong leader. I have to understand Kirk behind of this task, So what motivates you to deliver the best?
Which comes down to what you said about being aware of the people you work with. What do they value, and who are they actually at their core?
Yeah.
Because if you can't understand that person at their core, or understand what they value, or what you want their future to look like, how can you ever truly inspire them to do what you're asking them to do as a leader? It's impossible.
It's impossible.
It's like even on a football pitch, right? As a football pitch, I think if we look at the greatest captains that have ever been in sport, and even the great managers that have been in sport, they understand what makes people tick, and they say and do whatever's needed to make that person do what's needed to perform at their best. But you can't do that if it's just surface level and very sort of blanket statements that you're asking people to do.
Yeah. It's so true. How do you see that? I mean, you work also with so many different people, and so the main question too is because you also use of your strengths and everything.
Yeah.
What do you think about man of today?
I think, and I'm glad you asked me this question. If I'm just shooting from the hip here, the first thing that comes to my mind, having coached a lot of people, had a lot of conversations with people who are really successful and who are genuinely healthy high performers versus people who might be high performing on the front end in their business, have the bank balance, have the car, but maybe their health is not good. This might hit hard, but some of it ties into what you've just said. I think the men who are struggling most or living a lie aren't living in accordance to their values, aren't sure who they actually are from an identity perspective. And you've said this a few times today, they're not living with purpose. They're in relationships they shouldn't be in. But most importantly, they're not happy with their own relationship. So they will fill their week up with things that maybe they have more control with. For many people, it's work. When they're not living with purpose, living in accordance with their values, or they're not having hard conversations, maybe in that relationship they're in or with themselves, they will fill their calendar with as much work, in my opinion, as a distraction from what they need to do and the decision they need to make to move their life forward. And as you've said, they self-medicate through drink, sugar, processed food, stupid shit that is damaging their physical, mental, and emotional health. That's what I see over and over again. If I see the people that just seem to have more agency, live with more energy, like you just said, emotional energy, they're living with passion, they're living with purpose, they're being authentic. They're not bullshitting themselves and they're not bullshitting other people. They're living with more vibrancy. And again, there's no judgment when I say this because I've been on the other side of the coin. And I know we spoke about this, Max, where I was that person too, from the age of 20 to 26. I'm in a job I shouldn't have been in. Yeah. I wasn't living with purpose as a plumber, with the greatest respect. And because I wasn't living with purpose, I wasn't living a life in accordance to my values, and I'm not meeting my needs in empowering ways, and I'm not being authentic, and I'm blaming circumstance, I'm blaming the past. I attracted relationships that I shouldn't have been in, and I had habits that was destructive every single weekend with drink, booze, drugs. So I've been on both sides of the coin, Max, and I've seen both sides of the coin with clients. And there's going to be some people listening to this that are in relationships or have a family where they're staying within that family because of children. I know it's hard, right? I'm about to become a father, and I can imagine it could be so hard if you're in a relationship that, just isn't working, but you're staying together for the kids. It's fucking your kids up. I know that sounds tough, right? And also, you might be listening to this a bit like I was during my plumbing years, where you're going, I can't just quit my job, I've got to pay the bills. I totally get it. I've been there, where you're like, I need to live, I need to eat, right? I need to pay the bills, I need to have a roof over my table. I get it. But if this is you, what else are you doing in the time you do have available, even if it's a half an hour a day, to at least look at another option that is more aligned to your values and maybe more purposeful to you, that can provide more hope for the future? But all I can say from personal experience is if you do nothing, nothing changes. It's that simple. The feeling, the emotion will keep coming back, showing up. And this ties in with a lot of what you just said, Max, about not knowing who you are. If you don't know who you are and you don't really know what excites you, lights you up and puts you in that flow state, then you're forever going to be wasting time trying to consciously or subconsciously find ways to meet your needs in empowering ways, or buy things you don't need to fill your cup up. Or
Yeah.
do things short term that make you feel good in the moment, but make you feel like shit afterwards. So I know I've gone a long-winded way of saying that, but
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense.
Absolutely. It does make sense. Yeah, this is so sad because, but this is exactly where we can help. And I can just encourage all men and certainly also all ladies, women, to realize what situation they are in and then take the first step. But look, in the seminars, when I'm running the B2C seminar, so-called B2C, it means that it's
Can you share, Max? Because we're coming to a close soon. Can you share the different things you do from a service perspective, and obviously talk a little bit more about your books as well? Because I know there's so much value out there for people, whether it's within a company or whether it's on a one-to-one front.
Yeah, I mean, wrote 2 books. It's only in German. I'll be bringing out in English this year because many people asked for, and that became a bestseller.
That's You Are More.
Yes, You Are More. This is also my methodology, and this is what I use working with leaders. So absolutely top people who want to get purpose into lives, and also want to understand more about themselves, how to be a good leader. And I'm not talking about being good or bad because there's no good football player or no good coach or whatever. You must be successful what you do. So you are good when you are successful. So success and goodness so belong some way to each other. But being successful means that at what cost? So being successful but fulfilled. And this is the main question: can we achieve this? And because this book has been published 2014 and became very, very rapidly a big success in Germany. Many companies buying it for Christmas for the people, and then because after my many thousands of hours of talks with different leaders and working with them, I came to this second book. This is the 6 Pillars of Life. And I don't know, everybody's talking about 6 or 7 or 8 or whatever. I do not want to give you any guide how to be happy, because it would be very arrogant, to telling you how to be happy. But I'm showing you what 6 areas of life. This is what I've detected in my work. These 6 key areas have a significant impact on your happiness, also on your success. And these are social relationships, your intimate relationships, so your romantic relationship, love, spirituality. We're not talking about too much, but it's very, very important. Then work, sport and hobby, work and money, because they belong together, and health. And the problem is just making very sure that, because people put all the energy into work, that's why they abandon social life, romantic relationships don't work. We have so many lonely people out there. It's an increasing number. It's really, really threatening. Then sports hobbies, we don't have time for that. Friends, we don't have time for that. I mean, weekend, I'm too tired. I don't want to, wash dishes. And so no, just abandon it. And then we put all the energy into the work. So end of the day, my health will be broken. And the only thing what stays with us and stands at the end of the day, this is work. So this book wants to show you how to do it differently, how to be very conscious about this. And so people, when they come to me, we start with the self-awareness, very, very clear. Then we go deep into the identity. And based on this identity, we can figure out their purposes, the main purposes. It takes time, but I'm bringing them also physically into situations that provoke them. So I'm having a coaching program which takes 1 year. So there are 10 sessions, can be also online, but 10 sessions. But within 1 year, we meet one time for 4 days in person. This is very important. They come to Dubai, we go to Mallorca, to somewhere else, and then spend 4 days with them, the private clients, and working with them very, very closely, very intensively on different things, breathing, physical exercises, showing them. And this is very important, everything based on their personality. Okay. I'm not teaching them something else. What will be good for you? So this is, I think, something, this is one of the main specifications. And and also running seminars for groups, and many leadership seminars for big organizations.
And speaking on stage, which is where we met, of course.
Keynote speaking. I love this because there you can reach a bigger audience, and then also you can share some stories. The people are a little bit more private, being very open. I'm very honest now. I'm so fed up with people, they're just showing up, and then telling you stories about how big and great they are and whatever. And it's nothing about being great. It's everything about connection. So it's just relating to others, to be able to give them something. And it can be only one nice smile a day to someone. And they are, banalities. I know that people, bullshit. No, it is not. That makes you happy again, so just very small things can change a lot. And so this is what I'm believing in. And that's me.
Brilliant. I always ask, especially when I've got a high performer of any sort, just quickly, because I know we want to try and wrap this up, but what is your personal daily routine? Because obviously you've got business, you've got family, you've got health, you've got mindset. And I know a lot of people can be overwhelmed. Okay, how do I fit all this in? And everyone's life's different. But I always, even from a selfish point of view on these podcasts, want to know what does a typical day look like for you?
Okay, I'm standing up. I don't have any concrete time. So I want to stand up and be awakened but freshly. So if I'm sleeping till 8 o'clock in the morning, if I can, only if I have work, then certainly not. But I will be waking, let's say, between 6:30 and 8, and then standing up, and then taking a smoothie that I'm preparing for myself with lots of ginger. It's very important for me. And then going down to the gym. And then I'm making qigong every morning. So
what is that? Sorry,
qigong. This is the Chinese.
Okay.
This is this is from the Chinese medicine.
Yeah.
So these are like martial art movements, but bringing you into your full energy. Yep. And this is very important for my age. Certainly, it's important for your neck, for everything. And I'm feeling really energized. And then I'm starting workout or to do something, also martial arts or paddle. So this is something.
Yep.
And I'm always injured, and then I leave. But I love it. I love it. So and then I start working. So and then I take my proteins. I learned it from you. Basically, you showed me.
Increasing protein intake.
And then I start working, and it's for me very 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 important that I have my time for, and we call it for neuro consolidation. It means I don't feel my days like this 10, Kirk, next meeting. This is what kills people. You have to have breaks between two meetings. You need time to breathe. You need time for yourself. Maybe only 5 minutes, but just to be. And this is what I'm doing always. So I don't take very tight schedules. So I'm doing my stuff very intensively. I work really a lot, but very consciously. And I would give you one thing. All the people, because addiction starts in the psychology, and also when you talk to psychiatrists, they're working with people suffering of addiction. This is a very important thing, that people are falling back into the addictive behavior then 4 things happen. And this is also a short acronym for that. This is HALT. HALT. It stands for hungry, angry, lonely, tired. This is what you should try to avoid. So if you mean, I'm tired, take a break. If I'm hungry, eat something. If you're lonely, call your friend. And if you're angry, you have to get down to release, Brilliant. So, and this is what I'm practicing and also teaching to my clients.
Brilliant. Awesome. Max, I could talk to you all day, but I'm conscious of time. So what's next for you? What's the mission moving forward?
I would like to continue, basically continuing this, because I believe very much in this, in the rightness of this, how do you call it, mission, path. And I want to teach it to many, many people. So that's why we have seminars for colleagues, and we have seminars for other people, they are coming and want to learn this kind of stuff. And I'm not very good. I mean, doing also social media should be much more. But I love this personal meetings, you know. So this is what matters to me most, you know. So this is, and so I would like to hopefully. As we say it here in this region, inshallah, I can stay healthy, and I'm doing my best for being energized, you know. And
you're certainly doing that. So where can people find you?
Instagram, email, website. This is youaremore.ae. And I'm having also in German inametrics.de. But LinkedIn, Peter Maximilian Malchiner.
Perfect. Max,
you learned it,
Max.
My name, it was Max. At the beginning we had to practice.
Max Malchiner. Still can't say it. I need to. You know what's interesting? Just to wrap up, right? I actually started German when I was at school. I remember I was. Believe it or not, I know a lot of people won't believe this. Gabby still doesn't believe me that I was one of the top dogs in my French class. I got an A in French. Okay, so what happened was when you were one of the best in French, you had the option to also learn German as well, because obviously you're considered this guru that can learn languages, right? So we had, I remember for about 6 months we had German lessons, and it didn't last too long because none of us could really pick it up very quickly. So I did actually start learning German, but it just never really materialized.
I understand. It's difficult.
Eins, drei, zwei.
And you English speaking people, you know,
we're lazy. We're lazy because other people speak English.
Spoiled because everyone.
But honestly, thank you so much for your time. I know you're a busy man, and please check out Max, and you'll see him again soon, I'm sure. Thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.